Well, good morning, everyone. It is day one here in Zion. Arrived yesterday after a very difficult but very satisfying flight. Got everything switched over. Well, first of all, the drive-in. I really enjoy the drive-in from Kanab because you pass through the east side first, then through the tunnel, and just Zion opens up. All the red sandstone towers. Absolutely beautiful. So that was really neat to see. Got everything switched over last night from backpacking to just kind of car camping. And a little bit of a cold night last night, mid-20s. I stayed pretty warm though, and slept really well after the big hike yesterday. And then today, just out exploring. Now, people often ask me, why do you go to the same spot every year? Doesn't it get boring? And the answer is I explore new spots, like this one. Check that light out up there. I have never been to this area. Every year, I'll push further up a canyon, maybe a mile further. And so it keeps it new. I've never been here. So what you see behind me is what I have spent way too much time and way too much film on photographing this scene. We've got this kind of precariously placed log up there. It's a good 10 feet above my head, so that lets you know what flash floods do in this area. So I came across this scene. We've got the dark shadows, a subtle glow back there. It's not strong, but kind of look what it's doing to the sand. We've got shadows based off reflected light. So it's a soft light, but still very moody. Came across the scene right off the bat, thinking high dynamic range, Ektar. 2 sheets of Ektar. But that orange back there is just begging for some Velvia. So I bracketed 3 sheets of Velvia. But then I was thinking, there's 5 spots of dynamic range that begs for some Delta 100. So I put a sheet of Delta 100 on it. And then got confused with my film holders. I'm a little rusty, I'm not gonna lie. And so I double exposed 1 sheet. So that means another 3 sheets of Delta 100. This has to turn out at some point, you would think. So, walking up this slot canyon here, I've got this beautiful scene that I've thrown a lot of money at behind me. But just maybe 50 feet up the wash from it. It is one of the most graffitied parts of Zion that I've seen, which is just really sad because, I guess eventually, in like 1,000 years or so, maybe erosion will repair that, but yeah, it's kind of sad to see. But I try not to let it get me down. I'm gonna pack up before I'm tempted to burn anything else on this scene, and go grab some lunch, see what else we can find, just explore, because there's always parts of the park that are going to be new to me, and that's what keeps it exciting. It's very cold and I can't talk. Let's hike and warm up. Part of the challenge in working in these washes is that they're very bowl shaped. I know this morning I was working kind of in a slot area, but for the most part they're very wide open, which means your good light is going to be in the morning, in the afternoon, when the sun is lower in the sky. But when you revisit a place, focus, there we go, over and over, you kind of know the parts that will be in pretty good light in midday. If you'll remember last year, I worked at a shot with this fallen tree, and all those leaves were yellow. I'll have to go back and look at the video, but I can almost swear they were all yellow. I come back this year hoping to maybe rework the scene. I was never quite happy with what I did last year. And they're red. There's some red in them. So, the camera behind me there, I improvised a bit. Now, I'm going to point out some very important things with this scene. First of all, let's take a closer look here. The mic is going to be muffled. Okay, this red leaf there, I cannot emphasize enough that I had nothing to do with placing that there. That was there in that position as we walked up on it. Hand to God, didn't do anything to alter this scene as far as the red leaf goes. Now, if in setting up my tripod, this branch here that was covering the red leaf needed to rest against it, I mean, there's nothing I can do about that. And furthermore, it's gonna be tough to see, but this branch there that was covering it, if that needed to rest on my bellows, well, that's just me positioning the camera. Okay, in all honesty, I didn't touch the leaf. I did move those branches, rested them on my camera as I was setting it up. There's one thing that I altered in the scene. This stick right there, that was coming into the edge of the scene, just the corner of it. So I moved that out of the way. The leaf and everything else was there. So the image I'm working on is just this perfect, and I mean perfect, red maple leaf surrounded by all yellow. There's kind of one burnt orange one up in the upper right corner, but I don't think that's going to detract too much from the singular red leaf surrounded by all yellow. Use a little bit of rear camera movements to help bring the plane into focus. My camera's not quite vertical, and it's not quite exactly aligned with the scene, so little camera movements to make things easier on myself. But this is one of those scenes that's a little bit difficult to work with in large format, but if it turns out all the detail in it really makes everything pop. So happy to have that scene, happy to find it. 2 sheets of Velvia, pretty even lighting, should really pop. So now we will just wait until the sun gets lower in the sky and opens up a little more areas of the wash to go and shoot. Wrapping up day 1 in Zion. The shot behind me here, a little bit of an experiment. We've got this kind of cutout in the sandstone there, and there's so bad with trees, a small juniper behind it, and it kind of frames that juniper, we'll call it, perfectly. But if you line your camera up, there's a massive pine back on the hill there, and if you get them aligned perfectly, it looks like it's one tree kind of framed by this little cutout in the sandstone here. That's what I want it to look like. I'm a bit concerned that there's too many distracting elements. You can see at the base there's kind of that scrub brush back there, so I don't know if there's going to be enough separation to get the look I'm going for. But quite honestly, just to stand here and look at it, it's pretty cool. It really does have the effect of, it looks like just one tree growing out of that little cutout there. Sketchiest part of this is we're on sloped sandstone here. It's not bad, not sketchy for me, but for my camera, it is quite windy up here. And so we emptied out my lens bag here, filled it with rocks. It's probably got about 12 pounds of rocks in it, so that thing's not going anywhere. It allows me to do video like this. But yeah, this one is an experiment. I hope it works out. But this area up here, you can see, is just a slick rock heaven, and it catches what a buddy of mine used to call mad solar. So you can see I've got a lot of reflected light coming into my face still. We're late in the day, so this wall catches good reflected light for quite a while. So anyway, that is going to it's going to wrap it up for me for day one in Zion. Excuse me, while I do that, I lined up several shots for tomorrow and didn't freeze to death. So if I can keep that streak alive for tonight when it gets really cold, we'll be doing good. It's super windy, you can't hear me. Thanks for watching, guys. See you later.